Welcome everyone to the Safari Showdown. We've got two incredible and terrifying competitors going head to head today, Tauros versus Kangaskhan. Let's find out which one makes Pokemon Yellow easier for me in a solo playthrough. You may ask, but isn't Tauros just better? Short answer, yes. Just ask any competitive player and look at this poll that I made before this video. Tauros is the clear community favorite. Now it's time for the long answer. Yes, Tauros has better stats, 70 special and 110 speed. Those are just better than Kangaskhan's dismal 40 special and 90 speed. They have similar learn sets, and because of this similarity, it seems that Tauros is just going to run circles around Kangaskhan. But I think this perception is largely influenced by Tauros' competitive might. My theory is that there's a false equivalency here. We assume that competitive strength is all that matters, when in fact there are other factors that are very relevant in solo playthroughs. While I do predict that Tauros will win today, I think that the buff Warlord Mother can post a competitive result. Here's how these videos work. I play through the game with each Pokemon, following these rules. Only my starter in battle, no items in battle, no glitches or exploits except the badge boost glitch, and no double team or rare candies. I'm looking for faster real-time completion and lower number of resets or blackouts. I'll also track the level of finish and the game time, but I personally don't like these metrics as much as the other two. After completing the game, I'll put the results side by side and determine if there's a clear winner. If there isn't, I'll do the playthroughs again and look for as many optimizations with each Pokemon as possible. If the results repeat again, we have a winner. If they don't, I guess I'm going to be playing a lot of Pokemon Yellow. I've talked a lot about Tauros' strengths, so now it's time for Kangaskhan to have its moment. It starts with Comet Punch and Rage. The former is a multi-turn move, and the latter gains strength every time the user takes damage. These are going to make Brock easier than with Tauros. The bull only gets access to Tackle after all. Yikes. While playing this challenge, I thought Comet Punch was the answer for Brock. It's going to do 1 damage per hit, but at least it's a multi-hit move, so it's going to do more than 1 damage per turn. However, in the forest, I ran out of Comet Punch PP, and when the PP is insufficient, the only thing left to do is Rage. In Generation 1, this move is weird. Once you select it, you're unable to choose another action until the battle ends or your Pokemon faints. Each time the enemy deals damage, it boosts your attack stat by 1 stage. At level 12, I feel that it's time to attempt Brock for the first time. Geodude is going to help me set up Rage because the only move it knows in Yellow version is Tackle. It's actually 2 levels higher in Red and Blue, and it knows Defense Curl. After the Geodude's out of the way, I've got to take on Onix, and the fear here is that it's going to use Bide and knock Mama out before Rage finishes it off. Lucky for me, Brock's Onix starts to bide late into the fight, giving Kangaskhan the time it needs to knock it out. So Brock, who's yo mama? Kangaskhan, that's who. 8 minutes and 23 seconds is a pretty good time for a normal type with only normal type moves against the rock hard Pokemon trainer. I'm happy with this result. On the other hand, Tauros is going to have to work hard to catch up after Brock. Still, I've got a plan in place to reduce the amount of time I have to spend training for him. I buy potions and then I train in Viridian Forest. I want to struggle. The potions help me heal and avoid the walk time back and forth between the center. At level 13, I have 1 potion left, so I fight the Light Years Junior trainer. And then after that, I top up Tauros' health with the last potion. Now I'm ready. Here we go. Brock, attempt number 1. In Generation 1, Pokemon's base speed determines its chance of getting a critical hit, and Tauros' 110 base speed gives it a roughly 21% chance to crit. And these really help against Geodude, allowing me to knock it out in only 5 turns. Onix is next. I've got no choice here. Spam Tackle and hope that Bide or Bind doesn't mess Tauros up. Luckily, Onix misses several binds and chooses Screech a total of 3 times, allowing Tauros to emerge victorious. Now, it's time to make the rest of Kanto a China shop. Let's get smashing, Tauros. Now let's talk about Tauros' leveling rate. It's part of the slow experience curve, where Kangaskhan is actually part of the medium fast curve. I noticed this after defeating the rival in the lab for the first time, and Kangaskhan leveled up and Tauros didn't. And along this route, I'm really starting to feel this with Tauros. Because the bull doesn't get access to Water Gun or Mega Punch either, I've got to level up, and this takes a while to finally learn Stomp. I actually end up learning it before I complete Nugget Bridge, and I've noticed something else here. Tauros has less defense and bulk, and this means that it needs to make trips back to the Pokemon Center to heal more often. While I'm back in Cerulean, I decide to face Misty. She opens with Staryu. Beef stomps the Starfish and knocks it out with a critical hit. Starmie's next. Tauros stomps, Misty X defends, Tauros stomps again, and Starmie survives. But then it just uses Harden? Okay, so that's an easy win. Tauros clocks in with a time of 18 minutes and 34 seconds. Kangaskhan again has another early game advantage. It gets access to Mega Punch in Mount Moon. This really speeds up progress against the second rival on Nugget Bridge. While I was fighting him, in my mind I just couldn't stop thinking about Misty. I'm really worried about Starmie's Bubble Beam. 40 special just doesn't inspire confidence. Plus there's this Pokemon conspiracy part of my brain that just sees Kangaskhan as Cubone's third evolution. If that was the case, ground typing wouldn't be very good against Misty anyways, so that's clearly another reason to feel uneasy here. Anyone else like this theory, by the way? I think that is really interesting. Luckily for me, Kangaskhan's actually a normal type. Mega Punch one-hits Staryu with a critical hit. Next, Starmie comes out. Please, not Bubble Beam. Oh no, it used it. But Mama doesn't take very much damage. I get another critical hit and I take the Starmie into red health. So I've got this. There was actually nothing to fear after all. After finishing Misty off, I head to Vermilion City. Listen to some info dumping from this bike voucher guy, grab rest and body slam, and then complete the trash can puzzle. I paused the timer for this section of the game so RNG doesn't impact either of our competitors' time. However, I can't eliminate all RNG because Surge is pretty random in yellow. Sometimes it's Growl into X speed, but today Raichu uses Mega Kick on the first turn. Mama survives, body slams the mouse, and paralyzes it. That allows me to outspeed on the next turn and end the battle. Kangaskhan clocks in with a time of 21 minutes and 23 seconds. At this phase of the game, Tauros has shed much of its early game awkwardness. It's like me at age 22, realizing that smiling might actually help me have a chance of finding a girlfriend. Tauros doesn't need to smile though because it has access to Body Slam. The first chance to test it out is on the rival on the SSN, and every single one of his Pokemon are one-hits. Surge is next. Tauros outspeeds Raichu and connects with a paralyzing Body Slam first turn. Surge gives me Thunderbolt as a prize, and it's Tauros' first special attack, but unfortunately it isn't going to help me with the next challenge, because waiting for me in Rock Tunnel is the hiker with his self-destructing team. Seriously, this guy's a mini-boss. Unless I've got super effective damage, I'm scared to face him. I should do a playthrough of Pokemon Yellow with his team at some point. Maybe I have to flip a coin each turn to see if my Pokemon explodes or not, because that's honestly how he picks his moves, completely at random. Tauros manages to deal with him in the first fight though, and that's a big relief. In Celadon, the bull gets access to Ice Beam. Now I've got 2 special attacks on my moveset, and this bull is starting to reach its final form. It's like me when I achieved my full Chad status and got a girlfriend. While the early game was slow, I think that things are going to speed up throughout the next portion of the game. I steamroll through the rival in Pokemon Tower, obtain the Pokeflute, and some confidence. Things are going well, so let's take Erica on and finish her off, and then head over to Sylph. Erica sends out the Silly Shoed Vine Monster first. Beef uses Ice Beam, but the Grass type survives at half health and connects with Mega Drain, dealing around 20% damage. So it's going to be a 3-hit. Erica uses a Super Potion on Tangela, but it doesn't take it out of 3-hit range, meaning that the Vine Monster only gets 1 more turn of damage with Vine Whip. Tauros is just above half health going into the rest of the fight. I use Body Slam against Weepinbell because I'm starting to wonder if my low special stat and Erica's Pokemon's high special stat was causing Ice Beam to deal less damage. However, Weepinbell survives and puts Tauros to sleep. Oh no, not like this. Next, it pulls the plug with Razor Leaf and Tauros faints. I guess that Weepinbell just wanted some steak really badly. So I'm gonna go train in Sylph and level up more before re-attempting this fight. Just using Ice Beam would probably get the job done, but I don't want to risk it. After all, I need to put in some time grinding anyways. In Sylph, I also get a chance to add Earthquake to my moveset, and this is a big upgrade for Beef. You could say that now it's Ground Beef. Fievel sends out Sandslash first. I use Ice Beam, and while it doesn't knock the Shrew out, it does freeze it. That's good enough. Next is Ninetales. It attacks quickly and then feints to a super effective Earthquake. Thunderbolt doesn't knock the Cloyster out in a single hit, and it gets an opportunity to use Clamp, but it misses, and I finish it off on the second turn. Kadabra's a 1-hit, and then Jolteon should be easy to manage with Earthquake, so I've done it. Now it's time to take care of Erica. The last fight didn't inspire confidence, and incurring more resets is really not what Tauros needs to maintain its god status. So the stakes have never been higher. Tauros also has some serious beef with Weepinbell after the last fight. I use Body Slam, and this might be a mistake, but it ends up being Stroganoff for me to defeat the Grass type. Gloom's last, and Beef takes it out in a single turn. Kangaskhan has to face the self-destructing hiker next. However, one of the learn set differences between these two is that Kangaskhan learns Bubble Beam. This water move is great at clearing out these rock ground types because of their double weakness. I make it to Celadon, and there I buy the regular items: Super Repels, Great Balls, and a few vitamins. Because of Kangaskhan's special, I decide to defeat the entire plotline before Erica anyways. I immediately make my way to Pokemon Tower. Another advantage of Kangaskhan's Learn Set is its access to Rock Slide. This is a great alternative to Thunderbolt. It will help deal damage to Cloyster and Lance's Pokemon, as well as giving me a physical attack that hits ghosts. The better move to deal with ghosts, of course, is Earthquake, and Kangaskhan gets access to it in Sylph. Mama's gonna ground some kids now. With this upgraded moveset, I'm ready to take on the rival. Here's the first example of how much less damage Kangaskhan does with special moves. I finish the Sandslash off and move on to the Ninetales. I just realized that writing this script that I've been spelling it Ninetales instead of Ninetales. This seems like a Golduck or a Psyduck sort of issue. Anyways, Cloyster's next, and it's time for Rock Slide. Okay, so that's not quite half damage. If I was a level or two higher, that would have been really helpful here. It confuses Kangaskhan, and that leads to an awful scenario, where it takes me all the way down to 10 hit points. I finally knock it out, and then Kadabra's next. Kangaskhan one-shots it with ease. Okay, Jolteon, I've just gotta outspeed. But I don't, and it finishes Mama off. I'll attempt one more time, and if I lose, I'll try to level up more. I get a lucky attempt against Sandslash, and I freeze it. Ninetales faints to a single hit, and then Cloyster comes out, and it's obviously still going to be a 3-hit. But Confusion and AI align and allow Kangaskhan to knock it out without issues. I'm moving past Kadabra with full health. Jolteon is last. It uses Double Kick, and then Kangaskhan hits itself in Confusion. Oh no, I take damage again from Double Kick? Please, I need to land my hit. Earthquake grounds the electric dog and the fight's over. Smell you later, butt. Actually no, I won't. That doesn't sound like a good thing to do. Erica only takes 4 hits from Body Slam to finish off. I'm glad I approached this fight cautiously with Kangaskhan. No resets so far. So how do these two stack up so far? Kangaskhan has a lead of 3 minutes and 15 seconds. 2 minutes of that time were earned during the Brock split, and then the gap widened throughout the next splits. Tauros' leveling rate is slowing it down more than I anticipated. To be prepared for the late gym leaders, I spent slightly more time training in Sylph leveling, and this accounts for the added time. However, I do think that the bull is going to start to speed up now, so let's see if it can catch up. In order to ensure that I have a decent level when I arrive at the league, I continue training on Cycling Road. Earthquake's great against all these poison types anyways. I also spend a bit of extra time knocking out some of the trainers in Koga's gym. These are convenient because they're on my path and they're just a great way to get some extra experience. Against Koga, Beef can't knock the Venonat out in a single hit. Okay, so things are going to speed up much right away. And this is really scary because these Pokemon all know status moves. The second one does around 10% damage with Psychic, and then I knock it out. Koga uses his typical X attack on the third one, and then all that's left is the Psychic Fighting Behemoth itself. Oh, never mind, Koga just wants to use an X attack again, so there's no need to fear his intimidating ninja tactics today. Next is Blaine. He gets annoying right away with Confuse Ray, but it doesn't stop Beef from knocking the Fairy Tail Fox out. Rapidash is next. Tauros hits itself first turn, Rapidash then uses Growl, but it fails. Tauros snaps out of Confusion, lands Earthquake, but the Flaming Horse survives, giving it a chance to use Stomp and deal around 20% damage. Arcanine is last. Earthquake does good damage, and then the dog uses Takedown. It doesn't do enough to stop me though. Blaine's finished. Sabrina doesn't stand a chance honestly. Tauros easily outspeeds her Pokemon and knocks them all out without an issue. There's only one gym leader left. I feel pretty confident against him. His first 2 Pokemon aren't an issue, but the Nidos could be challenging because they both know Double Kick. Giovanni decides to use a Guard Spec on Nidoqueen, and I take it out over 2 turns. Nidoking's next, and it manages to connect with Double Kick, dealing 1/3 damage to Tauros. I'll have to survive a hit from Rhydon with this amount of health because Ice Beam doesn't knock it out. Giovanni's got a chance to land an Earthquake now. But he chooses Fury Attack instead? Giovanni, don't take advice from Price. It's really not good for your career. Kangaskhan takes a similar path through the game by training on Cycling Road and then on the trainers in Koga's gym. Tauros was one-hitting his Pokemon, so I don't expect Mama to have much luck here. But then I get a critical hit against the first Venonat. So let's now reflect on the fact that I'm using Body Slam against these bug types instead of using Rock Slide. So that's not the best choice, right? Well, yeah, sometimes I make mistakes over and over again, and in the process, recurring gags are born. Funnily enough, I actually continue to make mistakes against Koga, even though I'm honestly trying to avoid them. Hopefully soon we'll see some rocks hit these bugs, but it isn't going to be in this fight. Oh, by the way, a lot of you have been asking what the subscribe type is weak to. It's got 3 weaknesses. A single weakness to the unsubscribe type, and a double weakness to the too long type and the cringe humor typing. Blaine is next, and Kangaskhan gets a critical hit, taking the Disney Princess Fox out in a single hit. Rapidash manages to land a stomp, and here we can just see how much more bulky Kangaskhan is. Mama's capable of tanking a lot because it's persistent and patient, sort of like how my mother was able to put up with me talking about Pokemon nonstop for days on end. Well, more like months on end. Actually, no, more like years on end. Look, Mom, now I'm still doing the same thing 20 years later. I hope you're proud. Sabrina's a bit of a worry for me. Kangaskhan really doesn't have a good special stat. Like, I keep saying that. 40 is really bad. But Kangaskhan actually outspeeds both the Abra and the Kadabra. Okay, Alakazam, I've got you. Once again, Mama moves first and body slams the Psychic Fox into oblivion. And now it's time to defeat a crime boss. Giovanni's Dugtrio survives Ice Beam and goes underground. By the way, in Generation 1, Earthquake actually doesn't hit a target that's underground, so I have to wait till next turn to finish it off. Persian uses Slash because of its high speed, and it's guaranteed a critical hit. So Kangaskhan's going into the last portion of this fight with around 45% health remaining. I've got to hope that the bulk is enough to survive a few double kicks, but Giovanni has empathy for the mother and instead decides to use Guard Spec, not once, but twice in a row, allowing me to defeat both of the Nidos without taking any damage. Rhydon's last. I use Ice Beam and it freezes the Rhinocerosaur. So I did it. I finished the gym challenge with both of these powerhouses. The unexpected result is that Kangaskhan has maintained its lead throughout the entire playthrough. In Generation 1 competitive, it might not stand a chance, but in a playthrough, it's really holding its own. The final rival's my last test before the Elite Four. I knock out the Sandslash with 2 turns of Ice Beam, sustaining 1/5 damage in the process. Execute's next, and unfortunately Body Slam doesn't take it out. Maybe I should have just used Ice Beam here. That gives the eggs an opportunity to seed Mama. So I guess like baby Kangaskhan and Brock, we know who your father is now. Next is Ninetales. I can't think of another fairy tale joke here. Oh wait, Ninetales is like maybe it's like Anna from Frozen, because it's a fire type. Oh wait. Pokemon Theories time. When did Frozen come out? When did Alolan Ninetales come out? Pokemon Theories! Let's talk about Cloyster, who had troubles against this thing as a kid. I never did. It always felt easy, albeit a little slow to defeat. But in these challenges, this thing is exceptionally terrifying because of Clamp. It hits Mama and gets a critical hit, ensuring massive damage each time it recurs, and that finishes me off. The nice thing about Cloyster in this fight is that it can also use Withdraw, and the next fight it does this first turn, and then Butt uses a potion on the second turn, allowing me to clear it with ease. I finish off the Kadabra, leading to Butt's ace, Jolteon, but Earthquake finishes the Punk Rock Doggo off, so Mama's off to the league. This fight is another great example of Tauros' higher special and speed stats. They give it a lot more firepower by allowing for frequent critical hits against Sandslash and Execute. Ninetales is simple with Earthquake, and then I get another critical hit against Cloyster. That's 3 out of 4 turns that I've got critical hits. Even Kadabra and Jolteon can't outspeed because Tauros is just too fast. This bull is actually really starting to build a lot of momentum. So can it continue into the league? Before we find out, here's the stats and splits. I'm so surprised how Kangaskhan has maintained its advantage this entire time. Here's a couple reasons why I think this is happening. Tauros is less bulky, and that makes the fights with it less predictable, and it also increases the number of times that I need to make trips to the Pokemon Center to heal it. Kangaskhan also is on a faster level up curve, and that allows it to just get a little bit more power a little bit sooner than Tauros, and improve its speed that way. Lorelei is first, and Thunderbolt is going to be helpful here. Okay, Beef, use your cow powers to summon lightning and defeat the Ice Master's water-type Pokemon. Okay, so nothing makes sense in Generation 1. Dugong does 1/5 damage and then faints. Cloyster gets knocked out after trying to survive with a potion. Slowbro could get annoying with Amnesia, but it uses Psychic instead, taking Beef down to half health and lowering its special in the process. My next Thunderbolt is still enough though. Jinx is a one-hit with Body Slam, and Lapras is last. I go for Thunderbolt, and the monster retaliates with Blizzard. And that knocks my cow out. I'll try again. I think that I can do it at this level. This time luck aligns. A critical hit against Dugong, a potion on Cloyster, and another critical hit on Slowbro gives me the momentum I need to finish her entire team off. And now I just want to take a moment and apologize for all of the times that I've forgotten Bruno. Hey Bruno, I know I've been really mean lately, but today I'm really sorry. Please just keep working out, focus on the deadlift, and don't remember things like high jump kick and submission. And apparently he hears me because Machamp just uses Leer first turn. It's so strange not forgetting him. I feel so weird not having someone in the league to be mean to. Lance is next. Thunderbolt is doubly effective against Gyarados, making it an easy KO. I switch into Ice Beam against the Dragonairs, but the second one survives. Bubble Beam. Okay, that's not too bad. Nice health too. Oh wait, a speed drop. Okay, so that's not so nice after all. Aerodactyl manages to outspeed and it uses Hyper Beam. Oh no! But I survive, and then I strike back with Ice Beam, getting a critical hit. Dragonite is last, and it's honestly doomed because of its double weakness to ice moves. Tauros finishes the Elite 3 with a time of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 49 seconds. The champion's last. Ice Beam shreds Sandslash, Body Slam bodies the Alakazam, Exeggutor hangs on because of its massive special stat, but I manage it with 3 turns. Cloyster's next. I use Thunderbolt. It survives and clamps me. Okay, please. It lasts for 3 turns, taking me down to 40% health, and then I finish it off. And that's it. The last 2 Pokemon are easy to take care of with Earthquake, and Tauros clocks in with a time of 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 12 seconds, with only 2 resets. Now, can Kangaskhan maintain its advantage throughout the league, or will its slower speed and lower special stat finally be its undoing? I've opted to use Rock Slide against Lorelei to leverage Kangaskhan's attack stat and avoid its special stat. The danger of this is that it can miss. Second turn, my rocks finally connect, and it isn't enough. Good thing Lorelei's Dugong likes to sleep. Cloyster's next, and it doesn't use Clamp once. I made a mistake against the following Slowbro and used Rock Slide. It misses, and that allows Lorelei to use 1 turn of Withdraw before I start attacking. Oh no, I'm not going to be doing very much damage anymore. But luck aligns, and a critical hit with Body Slam knocks the Slowbro out. Jinx is a 1-hit, and then Lapras uses Hydro Pump. 2 hit points. Oh my, 2 hit points? I can't believe that. Body Slam hits the Lapras and gets a critical hit, and with that, Mama did it. So, that was a really lucky fight, but I am moving on. The extra bulk against Bruno sets my mind at ease. I use Body Slam against Hitmonchan and it survives, and then uses Ice Punch. Oh no, not a freeze, not a freeze. But Kangaskhan doesn't get frozen, and it finishes it off. So Bruno was easy as always. Maybe Submission would have been scary, but honestly, when's the last time he used that move? Lance is next, but Kangaskhan's prepared. I use Rock Slide against Gyarados. It survives, uses Hyper Beam, and deals 1/3 damage. I knock it out and move on to the Dragonairs. I've added Blizzard to my moveset in place of Ice Beam, but Kangaskhan's awful special stat still doesn't allow me to one-shot the mid-stage dragons. It's Aerodactyl time, and Kangaskhan's at half health. Perhaps my confidence at the start of this fight was misplaced? Aerodactyl outspeeds with Hyper Beam. But Kangaskhan survives, and that gives me 2 turns to knock the Flying Terror out. Dragonite's last. 4 times damage with Blizzard has to be enough, right? Well, we won't get to know because I get a critical hit. Kangaskhan's time is 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 11 seconds. That's 4 minutes left to defeat the champion and still beat Tauros' time. Blizzard doesn't one-shot the Sandslash. Okay, I should really stop using special moves with Kangaskhan. I choose Body Slam instead and make it through the Shrew and Alakazam. Exeggutor's next, and this thing just always seems to be bulky enough to set up Leech Seed before fainting. I decided to teach Kangaskhan Thunderbolt for this fight because I think it's going to be slightly better against Cloyster than Rock Slide. The shell uses Aurora Beam and takes me down to 1/4 health. This is bad, because Ninetales and Jolteon both know Quick Attack, and in a rare moment of AI brilliance, they both use it against me. Oh, but Mama survives. So, bye-bye Jolteon, you're getting grounded today. Oh, never mind? Kangaskhan faints instead. The clock is ticking. In the second fight, I spam Body Slam against the first 3 Pokemon and knock them all out, arriving at Cloyster with more health than last time. I use Thunderbolt and knock it out over 2 turns. So I'm headed back into the confrontation with the quick attacking duo with significantly more health this time. That allows me to knock both of them out. Kangaskhan finishes with a time of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 54 seconds. The mama herself is faster than the competitive bull. Tauros does finish the game with less resets, and the margin for victory in both of these metrics is very close. 1 minute and 18 seconds separates them. This result is just too close. I just think that we need more data. I've got more experience now with both of these Pokemon, so maybe the results will change if I repeat the challenge. Can Kangaskhan defend its victory, or will Tauros show us that it's actually really the better playthrough Pokemon? With Kangaskhan, Brock isn't an issue as long as you start the fight at level 13. At this level, you can use Rage and knock the Geodude and Onix out. The only issue that could occur is that a very early Bide chain from Onix has the potential to end the fight, but it doesn't happen for me and I'm able to squeeze 19 seconds out of the Brock split. While I defeat Misty and Surge, who are also easy for Kangaskhan, I'll mention a major mistake that I made in my first run. Everything seems fine. Why do I use Body Slam instead of Rock Slide against Venonat? These are small errors, but there's an even larger error. I failed to set Kangaskhan to perfect DVs. I use perfect DVs in these challenges to ensure that there's a fair comparison between these two Pokemon. Plus, we're trying to see how fast they can make it through the game, so I'm really looking for optimal performance. But the previous round had an imperfect Kangaskhan go faster through the game than a perfect Tauros. Its stats are also likely the factor that explains its one additional reset. If Kangaskhan had got a worse time than Tauros, I would have just played the round again, but it actually was faster with non-optimal stats, so I didn't feel that was necessary. But this time in the second round, I've ensured that both of these Pokemon have perfect stats. Bubble Beam once again makes Rock Tunnel easy to pass through, and I complete the Rocket plotline immediately in order to gain levels. I want to be overleveled for Erica. By the way, what was I doing in this fight? Rock Slide against Tangela? Body Slam is obviously the better choice. And then Earthquake against Weepinbell? Like, yikes. Last time I had my first reset against the Sylph rival, and today I'm on a mission to prevent that. I knock Sandslash out with 2 Ice Beams. Fairy Tails feints to an Earthquake, and Rock Slide is still a 3-hit range for Cloyster. It misses Clamp and hits 2 Aurora Beams, and then Rock Slide starts to miss. I seriously dislike this move, and moves that aren't 100% accurate just are usually bad in general. Rock Slide misses not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times in a row. When it finally connects with Cloyster, the shells had time to set up withdraws. Great. Next turn, I try again stubbornly, and the game takes pity on me and gives Kangaskhan a critical hit. Cloyster faints. Body Slam KOs Kadabra, and then Jolteon moves first with Double Kick. But this time Kangaskhan gets another critical hit and Butt's finished. No resets this time. Maybe I can actually get a perfect playthrough. So Koga's next, and it's time for me to prove myself, right? No, it's really not. I used Body Slam against the first 2 Venonats. And luckily for Mama, they're actually both easy one-hits. Finally, on the third Venonat, I realize the errors of my ways, and I adjust so that I'm using Rock Slide. Venomoth, the unofficial channel mascot, is next, and I use Rock Slide against it. And then I miss, twice in a row, while Venomoth sets up Toxic. On the 4th turn against it, the rocks connect and the moth gets squished. I guess that's what happens when you're a bug flying type. Blaine's easy. 4 turns of Earthquake take care of him. I'm still outspeeding Sabrina, so she goes down with 3 uses of Body Slam as well. Giovanni's last. Honestly, he's so much better in yellow version, but the fact that his AI can still use guard specs really removes a lot of the challenge. I make it all the way to the Nidoking without taking any damage, and then it gets a critical hit with Double Kick. Half of my health evaporates in a single turn. Please don't ruin my perfect run. Rhydon comes out and I use Earthquake. Oh, a guard spec. Excellent. All of my splits are faster this time. I'm 3 minutes and 31 seconds faster than my previous run at this point. That's a really good result for Kangaskhan. So how will I do with Tauros though? Well, the short answer is that Brock's hard. I ended up attempting the start of the second run 4 times in total, and each time it discarded the run entirely because of how badly I was playing against Brock. Tauros kept losing. The solution is that Beef just needs to be a higher level than level 13. Due to this additional training to make things consistent, I actually end up with a worse Brock split than previous. From there, things improve slightly. I get a worse Misty split, but that's because I did Nugget Bridge first this time. After defeating Surge, I'm only 57 seconds behind my previous time. Maybe I can catch up? I also don't have any major alterations with Tauros, and so this run proceeds nearly identically to the previous one. I do skip Erica until later, and that makes her a lot easier to deal with. No resets this time. I may also be able to eliminate a loss on Lorelei as well. Both of these Pokemon are looking primed to complete playthroughs without a single reset. The issue for Tauros is that it doesn't gain much time throughout the second playthrough. Things go basically exactly the same as they did before. When you've got a powerhouse like this that learns fantastic moves, has great stats, and is an offensive Pokemon, there aren't many choices to make in battles, or with your moveset. Because of that, there aren't very many ways for me to improve my time, and I end up clocking in before the league at 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 21 seconds. That's 2 minutes and 10 seconds faster than the previous playthrough, so I did squeeze some time out, and while that is a great improvement, it isn't as much of a gain as Kangaskhan made. In round 1, Kangaskhan incurred a reset in the league against Lorelei, but this time I'm able to defeat her on my first attempt. This victory felt very lucky though because I powered through it without taking damage until Lapras, and then it used Blizzard and it did a lot. Bruno's next now, and I've got Blizzard on my side, and he stands even less of a chance with it. But when you wear that few clothes after all, cold is super effective. Lance is last. Whoops, sorry, there's some Pokemon Tower footage in here. Let's get that out of here. Okay, that's better. My perfect stats make the difference in this fight. I'm the same level as last time, and my attacks just all hit slightly harder. The Dragoners can't survive my Blizzard anymore. So I've arrived at the champion, without a single reset. This is a first, but hopefully it won't be a last. Blizzard for Sandslash, Body Slam for Alakazam, Exeggutor obviously survives and seeds Mama. Last time it was the eggs, this time it's the pineapple tree. I knock it out with Body Slam without losing too much health. Cloyster's next. I go for Thunderbolt, but it survives and uses Clamp. Oh no, 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits. Okay, I'm at 36% health, and after that I finish the shell off. Please, no, not Quick Attack. Ninetales doesn't go for it, and Earthquake gets the job done. Jolteon is last. It outspeeds and goes for Thunder Wave. I could still attack, but I don't, and it finishes me off with Thunder. That would have been a depressing end to a Nuzlocke, but I'm still clocking in faster than before, so I try again. I make it past Cloyster with more than half health and then one-shot the Ninetales. Jolteon is all that remains, but I move first and end it with a critical hit Earthquake. Kangaskhan clocks in 3 minutes and 58 seconds faster than my first attempt. I'd say a lot of the time saved is because of my higher stats this time around. I can't believe that I made that mistake the first time. Tauros, unfortunately, arrived at the league with a time savings, but also a lower level. I had to trade some time training to get some additional clock time. Lorelei's water Pokemon are just not taking enough damage from Thunderbolt. Cloyster confused me and I hit myself twice, which gave Slowbro 1 turn of free Amnesia setup. Once I started using Thunderbolt again, it isn't doing enough damage. I got Tunnel Vision here and just kept trying to get a critical hit with Thunderbolt, and that ends with the first reset for Tauros. In my second attempt, Tauros gets frozen, so I immediately try again, and the bull manages to emerge victorious. It's time to move on. This time I teach Blizzard to Tauros, and that makes Lance a lot easier. It's also more consistent this way. The only issue here is Dragonite, who actually ends up surviving my Blizzard. Like, what? It ends up retaliating with Fire Blast, but it only does 1/3 damage before the bull finishes it off. Lance, don't you know what bulls do when they see red? So it's champion time now. And things are gonna take a turn for the worst. The champion wrecks Tauros not once, but twice in a row. On the third fight, I get luck against Exeggutor and freeze it, and this clears the way for me to sweep through the rest of his team and finish the game. Tauros' new time is actually 31 seconds slower than last time. It's so interesting to me to see how similar these two rounds were. Kangaskhan gained significant time, likely due to its stat upgrade, and Tauros clocked in roughly with the same time. I managed to improve my numbers of resets with Kangaskhan, but Tauros did worse, largely because it was a lower level the second time. This means that with the bull, my first run was actually more efficient than my second. I haven't actually had a time yet where my second playthrough yielded worse results than my first, so this is a first for me. Either it's because Tauros is easy to use, like it's intuitive, or I just played worse. In the end, I think it's a combination of both. I played worse the second time, and the first one was very close to optimized already because of how intuitive the bull is to use. It's still close, but I don't think that I need to do a third playthrough this time. I'm very confident that Kangaskhan would be able to beat the game faster. I guess Tauros could spend extra time training and try and go for 0 resets by sacrificing time, but that's a pretty meta play, and Kangaskhan could easily do the same and also get a 0 reset finish with a slower completion time. So there's one stone left unturned, a consistent league playthrough. I've recently changed my approach to this segment, so today here's how it's going to work. I'll play each challenging league member over and over until I defeat them all 5 times in a row. For these Pokemon, I'll be reattempting Lorelei, Lance, and the champion. Those were the hard fights. Bruno is simple after all. If I lose, the counter resets. I'll usually level up or change my moveset at that point. I'll allow myself 1 loss due to pure luck without resetting the counter. So say a stray critical hit comes out of nowhere and Tauros faints, I won't reset the counter in that case. But if it happens a second time, I will reset the counter, because if critical hits are happening very frequently, I think that it's fair to include that in the result. At the end of this entire process, we'll get a sense of the level that each of these Pokemon needs to be able to consistently make it past every league member. With Kangaskhan, Lorelei is immediately a problem. I get frozen, attempt again, get clamped into oblivion, decide that one more attempt should be fine because I didn't even get one victory at this point, and then in the third fight I get frozen again. Great. Even at level 60 I'm still getting knocked out. So how far did I need to take this in order to get past her? All the way to level 66. Even at this level, Lapras is still pretty scary. Hydro Pump and Blizzard are just excellent moves against Kangaskhan. During this run, I realized that Body Slam is actually dealing nearly the same amount of damage as Rock Slide, so I start using it instead for consistency's sake. And that adjustment allows me to defeat her and get 5 victories. But what about Thunderbolt? Is it the better choice? Maybe Rock Slide is just too inconsistent, and the 95 base power of Thunderbolt compensates for Kangaskhan's low special stat. Turns out that it does help, and I achieve consistency 2 levels lower. The reason that it helps is I can get by Cloyster more reliably. I can't miss here anymore. Well, unless the miss glitch occurs, of course. Slowbro can now use Withdraw or Amnesia, and it used to survive 2 hits, but now it can only survive 1 because I can just switch into the other move and then hit it for the same amount of damage. This allows me to arrive at Lapras with enough health to knock it out. I lost once because of luck, but I'm happy with this result. Now, if you're a Tauros fan, this is the time that you've been waiting for. It's the Bull's time to shine. While it can't do it at level 54, it becomes consistent against Lorelei at only level 58. This is due to its base 70 special in combination with Thunderbolt, so I'm able to defeat her 5 times in a row and move on. Now, because both these Pokemon required higher levels to get past Lorelei, the rest of the league is actually made consistent. Lance doesn't stand a chance against either anymore, and the champion is still a bit annoying with Exeggutor, Cloyster, and Ninetales. The Leech Seed, Clamp, Confuse Ray, Fire Spin combo is actually brutal. But both Pokemon end up emerging victorious 5 times in a row against both of those trainers. Nice finish, Kangaskhan. However, Tauros takes the prize here. It's 7 levels lower for the consistent league. So who wins? Kangaskhan's faster in both rounds. Tauros had the least number of resets in the first playthrough, and Kangaskhan had less in the second playthrough. However, if we take the total number of resets across both playthroughs, then Kangaskhan also had less. Tauros, however, wins the consistent league challenge. So here's the recap. Kangaskhan's faster, 1 point. Kangaskhan has overall less resets throughout the playthroughs, 1 point. But Tauros achieves the consistent league at a lower level, and that gives it 1 point. So Kangaskhan wins today. Well done, mama. Here's a few additional reasons why I think that it really deserves it. Number 1, it feels better because of its bulk throughout the playthroughs. This results in less heals and less worry during fights. 2, Tauros failed against Brock 3 times in round 2, and I simply restarted entirely each time because the start of the run was just too bad. These restarts aren't reflected in the round 2 stats, but I do think that they need to be accounted for. I didn't restart with Kangaskhan once throughout any of these playthroughs. And finally, number 4, Kangaskhan put an incredible round 1 performance in despite not having perfect DVs. What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Up next in my Versus series is the Battle of the Starters. I'm so excited for it. So subscribe and ring the Chimecho so you'll be notified when that video drops. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch to keep up to date with what I'm up to. If you want to go above and beyond, consider supporting me on Patreon. I really appreciate each and every one of my patrons. You're helping me make my dream into a reality. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. But the most important thing is just that you're here watching. Thanks for being an incredible community. Each and every one of you is incredible. I'll see you in my next video. And now, it's bloopers. Welcome everyone to the Showdown. Holy, that was a bad first take. Oh my gosh. Okay, we got this. Let's go. Sometimes it's Growl into X speed, but today Raichu uses Raichu. No, it's Raichu! Ah! This prevents Raichu from attacking, and that's a perfect victory for the Bull. It clocks in with a time of 23 minutes and 55 seconds. No, it doesn't. That's the other Pokemon. What? What? How did I write the same time twice? Did they get the same time? They did not get the same time. Giovanni decides to use a guard spec on Nidoqueen, and Nidoqueen? Ah! Humor has been hard for me my whole life. Everything, I remember when memes started showing up and everyone was laughing at them. I would just sit there and look at them and just be like, I don't know why it's funny. Why is it funny? And I'd look around and then I'd laugh with everyone else because everyone else is laughing. I should be laughing, but I don't get it. Humor's hard. This gives it a lot more firepower by allowing for frequent critical hits. They give it a lot more firepower by allowing more frequent critical hits. Last time it was the eggs, and this time it's the pineapple tree, I guess. So I don't know who's maybe Brock's dad is the Executor because it's like kind of like more humanoid, and then like the Kangaskhan baby is Execute is like. Are these two actually in the same egg group? Like we should find that out.